Welcome to Whachacha's Tabletop World, a channel devoted to the love of board gaming. My name is Sweetness Whachacha, and today this is my overview and my thoughts on Flashback Lucy. Now this is a spoiler-free review. Okay, so this game is a one and done. You play through 4 different scenarios, basically, called visions, and it's a story. And once you go through it, you'll be graded as you go, and you'll just be kind of enjoying the mystery and unraveling of the mystery. So there's not really a sense of like losing or winning. So if you look here, we have the 4 visions that you're going to go through. So this is 2015, 1971, 1818, and 1692. So you're going to be going back in time. You're going to be playing this girl named Lucy, who is able to pick items up and then have like a psychic sort of connection to those items and see the last moments of that person's life. So you're going to be going through each of these visions and piecing together the mystery that's surrounding your moving to this mansion. There are these runic cards that you're going to be uncovering as you go. Some of them will have this symbol on them, the cat symbol, this grebo symbol, and you'll tuck it under this card. You won't be able to look at it when you uncover it, but at the end of the chapter, you'll be able to look at this, and it will kind of further the story. There's also these question cards, and they'll have the questions that you're going to answer at the end of your vision. And there are these cards, which are the vision cards, and they'll have pictures on them to relate the story. Again, I'm going to show you a few cards and a few things, but I promise you this is not going to ruin the mystery for you. I'm just going to show you the cards that you get right off the bat, just to give you an idea what how the game plays. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to read through this story about this mansion that you're moving to, and then there's going to be like a comic book style thing here. Now there are these little indentations in the in the paper, so you can kind of tuck these cards in. You'll be getting these cards at the end of the missions, and you'll see they kind of sit in there. So this isn't really giving anything away. You're going to get these right off the bat, but that's your father. And so you're going to be adding things to each of the chapters. Each of these chapters has a place for pictures and a place for the comic book. So you'll read the comic and you'll notice there's these like kind of symbols here. Well, that's going to be what you're going to get. So right at the bottom it'll say take this card. So you'll take the card with that symbol. When you look at it, it's sort of a changing of the comic. So you see the cat is looking at something here, and then you'll place it like you can see it on the page, and now you can take the ruin that is associated with that symbol, as you see here. When you flip it over, it'll just kind of give you the introduction and say take card number 1 from the 2015 vision. And so you would flip this card over, and now you have a scene, okay? And you can see that the scene is in this room. You don't quite know when. It's obviously before you moved here. And, it will tell you card 13, card 9. There might also be hidden other runes in the image that you're kind of looking for. But all it is you're going to go through these cards, and sometimes there'll be a zoom in, so you'll be able to look further into the image. But you're kind of like, the 9 card is going to be what she's looking at. This is the one you're looking at from this person's viewpoint. So you're going to go through, all these are just different people's viewpoints, and you're going to kind of piece together the story from there. So you're going to go through the comic in the beginning, read the little story, the introduction, then you're going to kind of set that aside, and then you're going to continue looking through these viewpoints. There's not much to it. You're going to take a card, and it's going to show a couple other viewpoints, and so you're going to kind of look at the card, try to make an understanding, try to understand what's happening in the card, and then you're going to, draw the next 2 cards or 1 card or however many cards are on that image, and you'll look through those, and those will allow you to look at more and more images. So mostly you're going to go through all the cards, and if you see all the little hidden stuff, some of them you'll put below the kitty grebo, and some you will look at right away, and you'll try to understand the questions. Then when you're done and you feel like you have a pretty good handling of the mystery, then you will go ahead and go to the questions phase. You will look at the back of the book here, and you will read the answers to the questions, hoping to get them correct. You can mark off on the book these little boxes. I did not do so when I did it. I just kept track myself to keep track of your score. So there's the 4 chapters. Then when the chapter ends, you'll look through the cards that are underneath grebo. Often those are cards that you're going to tuck into your scrapbook, and then you'll be able to refer to those going forward. And then it will allow you to play the next vision. So you can play them all in a row, which is probably 4 hours, somewhere in that kind of time frame. Each of them is 45 minutes to an hour, so depending on how long it takes you. So you can go through all of them at once, or you can just do one at a time. And that's the whole game. So let's talk a little bit about how the experience is. So this is kind of an interesting one. There's a lot of games on the market nowadays that are mystery games, like cold case kind of games where you get a big bunch of files and papers and letters and pictures, and you try to piece together a mystery. There's another game very kind of like this, maybe a little more in depth, is the game Perspectives. I've got that reviewed on the channel as well. Which is kind of using pictures to deduce a mystery. This one is not, it's not likely that adults are going to look at this and be like, geez, I really wonder what this is. There are some points where you're kind of trying to figure things out and you may get a question or two wrong, but mostly the mystery kind of unfolds itself. But it's just a nice little experience going through and doing it. Like you're like, oh, I think this is probably, so there is some thinking and some deduction, but it's not like, it's like a very light introductory version of like one of these other kind of mystery games where you're trying to deduce what's happened. But I think that this is a really kind of an interesting little gateway or more family-friendly version of that. This is one that we're like, I think as an adult playing through it, you could enjoy it. You might not have your socks knocked off, but you would enjoy it. However, I think for a family, maybe like a mixed group with kids and adults, like maybe a couple of parents and some children, that would be a very enjoyable experience for the whole family to sort of like look through and say, oh, I bet this happened, I bet this happened. Now, in addition to that, there are some really cool little surprises in here. I don't like people familiar with like Exit the games or those escape room games where there's some, you don't destroy anything playing this game, but there are some very, very satisfying surprises in this package. You as you play, there are a couple of moments where I'm like, wow, that's really pretty cool from a standpoint. I don't want to give anything away, but the story itself, is fine. It's interesting. Like it keeps you engaged, but I don't, again, and I think some of those things are very interesting that are in there. Overall, it's a pretty easy experience, although a pretty quick one. It's inexpensive, but I think that probably more than often than not, people are going to enjoy this more as like a family or as a mixed group, or just giving it to younger kids and having them try to piece it out and stuff. Again, the mystery you do need some deductive power to figure out what's going on, but not not a lot of deductive power. You get a score at the end, so you could essentially get every single question wrong, get to the end, and you still would probably have basically the same experience because it's not really scored in any major way. But it's just a fun little experience. Like I say, a 1 and done, 3 to or a 4 and done, depending on how you break it up. But I think this is a really good gateway for that kind of a game that, those kind of cold case games, the picture games that you have to solve a mystery. But I think it's really going to go good over families. I enjoyed playing it. I did a playthrough on the channel. I just played the whole thing myself, just a solo. I did really enjoy certain parts of it. I thought, wow, that's very clever. That's really cool. But mostly, it was just sort of walking through and understanding like, okay, this, and it's cool to see like this character's looking at this. Okay, well now the next person I get to see what they're looking at, and I get to kind of see the background on them. It would be interesting to see again, like I say, Perspectives really feels like it's maybe the next step up in complexity and interest, like for more of an adult game. But this one's good maybe more for families. But this, I'm guessing because it's Flashback Lucy, there's going to be other games in the series. But yeah, I really did. I feel like it's a nice little game, nice little production. So yeah, hopefully that helped you to decide whether or not this game is for you. If you want, you can watch my playthrough, although that is full of spoilers. Maybe you can just watch a little bit of the first one and get an idea if that's something that would work for you or not. But for now, I gotta roll.